Good evening. An overnight fire in North York has claimed the lives of an elderly couple.
The Ontario Fire Marshal's office is now investigating what caused the deadly blaze. CTV's John Musselman has been at the scene all day, and he joins us live now with the latest. John.
Well, Michelle, it's been a very difficult day for neighbors on this street near Islington and Steeles as they react to news that two longtime residents here perished in this fire. The security video from a neighbor's doorbell camera shows firefighters arriving on the scene just after 4 a.m. Fire broke out inside this brick home on Anthia Drive, that's near Islington and Steeles. An elderly couple was pulled from the home. CPR was performed on the front yard. Both victims were rushed to hospital, but they did not survive.
I've been inside in the back, very smoky, heavy smoke damage. They would have had zero visibility crawling their way through there, locating both occupants. And as I said, just a very sad outcome.
Neighbors tell CTV News the couple has lived in the home for more than 50 years and they remain active. This woman didn't want to appear on camera, but she says it's been very upsetting.
Oh, we're devastated. We're in shock. All the neighbors were up at 4 in the morning trying to figure out what's happening. When the ambulance came, we thought it was okay, and then we found out they passed.
Kind people, very good people. We were neighbors and we were friends as well. I think she was in her 80s when he was in his 90s. He was about 91 maybe, but very active people. They were.
I feel bad. What can I say? I know them. It's gotta be 50 years.
Investigators with the Ontario Fire Marshal's office have been called in. They will try and determine how it started.
We also have called in a structural engineer. The reason for that is to determine the safety of the building in order for our investigators to enter fully into the building and start conducting their investigation in regards to the origin, cause, and circumstances of this tragic fire.
Family members gathered outside the home today while the investigation into the cause gets underway. It's believed the fire started near a bedroom. It is not known if the home had working smoke alarms. Officials say that will be part of the investigation. And the home remains sealed off at this hour as they go through the process of trying to determine how this deadly fire started. Reporting live at the scene, I'm John Musselman. Nathan, back inside to you.
Thank you, John. Also tonight, turning over a new leaf as the end of a disappointing season nears. MLSE fires GM Brad Treliving and begin the search for a new general manager. Fan reaction coming up.
But first, a live look outside tonight, and we can't see much. Very foggy. This is the Toronto skyline after what's been an unsettled day. Lots of rain. A bit of a break right now, although, looking quite gloomy out there. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions. Anticipating some more rain this evening.
Some more rain, Michelle, and potentially some more thunderstorms. I know we had a very active overnight last night. I'll step aside so you can see where the majority of the active weather is right now, and that's in areas like Huron and Perth County, inching ever closer to us yet again here in the GTA. It's been rounds of active weather. There's a look at the severe thunderstorm watch that's in place. Again, this is mainly for areas west of here. It's been another mild day, although those storms we had midday in Toronto really cooled us down. We went from about 18 degrees to 13. It's 14 degrees at this hour, but still closer to 20 in many areas. Southwest winds today a little gusty, especially out Niagara Falls way, where you have had a lot of active weather late this afternoon. There's the evening, so potentially some thunderstorms moving in the next hour or so. And then overnight we taper off to some showers and drop to a low of about +5. Tomorrow we welcome April. It's looking like a pretty nice day, but then we will be quite unsettled again after that. A detailed look at your weather forecast is coming up. For now, Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Brad Treliving's time with the Toronto Maple Leafs is up. The team announced they fired their general manager last night.
It comes near the end of a disappointing season where the team will not make the playoffs. Tonight, some are wondering what other moves the team may have planned. CTV's Mike Walker's live at Scotiabank Arena tonight, where the head of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment explained the decision to turf Treliving. Mike.
Well, Nathan, Keith Pelley said the current state of the Leafs does not entirely rest on Brad Treliving's shoulders, but a change in leadership and culture is needed in order to build a championship team. Brad Treliving's tenure as the Maple Leafs general manager is over after just 3 seasons, with Toronto set to miss the playoffs for the first time since 2016.
The team must chart a new course under different leadership to achieve our ultimate championship goal.
The Leafs have gone from Stanley Cup contenders to out of the playoff picture in the span of a year. MLSE president and CEO Keith Pelly says the firing was made after a deep analysis of the team.
Without the right culture, without the alignment and the accountability among everybody inside the operation, we will not be successful.
Pelly says the search for a new head of hockey operations will begin immediately, which could include a new president and GM. The Leafs announced Treliving's departure ahead of Monday's game. The players expressed shock and disappointment.
How I feel is that it's on the players, for, where we're at in the standings.
It's a little shocking, to be honest. Pretty abrupt.
Leafs Nation not so sentimental.
They weren't going anywhere this year, and you could see it.
I didn't see any benefits. I didn't see any positive change when he came in. I haven't seen anything until now. Not sure if it's the right person or not for the Leafs.
In the wake of the worst Leafs season in a decade, there are questions if this marks the beginning of a retool or rebuild.
They don't have a deep prospect pool. They're old, they're getting slower.
Pelly believes it will be a retool, but says the team's direction will ultimately lie with the new head of hockey operations.
We have to find a way to increase and to improve that lineup, and we need to do it rapidly, but we have the foundational pieces in place, which gives me the confidence that we can contend very quickly.
There is also uncertainty for head coach Craig Berube, who was hired by Treliving in 2024.
He gave me an opportunity here, and I feel like we let him down this year.
His role of the hockey club doesn't change today.
Leaving his future with Toronto in limbo until Treliving's successor is chosen. And Pelly said today that the Leafs intend on hiring Treliving's replacement by late May, just in time for this summer's entry draft. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. And still ahead, the other big sports news. The high-stakes thriller that had Canadians watching. Italy versus Bosnia battling for a spot in the FIFA World Cup against Canada. The heartache in Toronto's Little Italy this hour.
But first, police have arrested 3 suspects in connection with a months-long break-and-enter investigation called Project Compass. Police say during the day, suspects would disguise themselves as construction workers and enter residential apartments and condos. Police allege they committed more than 30 break-and-enters in Toronto and York region, making off with more than $1 million worth of stolen goods. 3 men between the ages of 35 and 49 are facing a number of charges in connection with the investigation. Meanwhile, 39-year-old Kenneth Levy's been arrested in connection with dozens of break-and-enters in Peel region. He's accused of breaking into businesses and stealing roughly $200,000 in computer-related items. Levy, who's from Mississauga, is charged with 27 counts each of break-and-enter and disguise with intent.
Victim Services Toronto is expanding an initiative aimed at helping victims of gender-based violence. The initiative, called Ask for Angela, allows people in a wide range of public spaces to alert staff that they need help simply by asking if they can speak to Angela. Trained staff can then provide support, which could be getting the person away from the situation, helping them contact the authorities, or calling them a taxi.
This initiative is about more than a code phrase. It's about community responsibility, empowerment, and action. It's about transforming routine places like grocery stores, pharmacies, hotels, hospitals, and attractions into safe spaces. It's about giving as many people as possible the autonomy to seek help quietly and without judgment.
We have about 1,400 frontline paramedics out on the road responding to the community, and if we have a survivor or a patient who does ask a paramedic for Angela, we can connect them directly to Victim Services discreetly through using the Ask for Angela cards or through signage that we'll have in the back of the vehicle that our patients can see.
The program is named after Angela Crompton, who was killed by her husband in the UK in 2012. Her name became a code word for people seeking assistance in bars and pubs in 2016 and has now spread to several other countries. Closing arguments began today in the sexual assault trial of billionaire Frank Stronach.
When the trial began early last month, 7 women were accusing Stronach of assaults dating back to the 1970s. But charges from 3 of the complainants are no longer going forward. CTV's Allison Hurst has more.
Defense counsel and Crown prosecutors are giving their closing arguments in the sexual assault trial of billionaire Frank Stronach. Defense lawyer Leora Shemesh went first, arguing the complainants lied, manipulated, and certainly attempted to deceive the court. On the investigation itself, she says police had tunnel vision and failed to look into the veracity of the complainants' claims, like checking to see if Mr. Stronach was even in the country at the time of the alleged assaults. Stronach initially faced 12 charges related to 7 women with allegations dating back roughly 40 years. He pleaded not guilty to all. During the trial, the Crown indicated they would not be pursuing 5 of the charges related to 3 complainants. The first of the remaining complainants testified she was sexually assaulted on her 21st birthday at a club the auto tycoon owned called Rooney's, then again in a booth, and told the court he raped her at a harborfront condo. Shemesh pointed to the changes that woman made to the year when she said it may have happened in 1981, not 1980. That date only changed, we say, because she was fearful the defense could prove Mr. Stronach was not in the country, says Shemesh. In her submissions, Crown Prosecutor Yelena Vlasic responded, "It's our position she was never certain about the date." But Ontario Superior Court Justice Anne Malloy pressed the Crown on this complainant's testimony at length, saying about the date, "What's troubling is the shifting reasons for why she knows it was 1980 and the shifting reasons for why she knows it was 1981. The second complainant, who worked for Stronach before and after the alleged incident, testified she was sexually assaulted at Stronach's harborfront condo when he helped her put on her coat and ran his hands along her body. Shemesh pointed out she hadn't mentioned the coat in past statements, arguing her story simply defies logic. Justice Malloy suggested if she were to make up a story to get money from Mr. Stronach, it would involve more than putting on a coat to touch her. Vlasic agreed the coat was a new detail, adding it didn't alter the mechanics of what happened. The third complainant testified she was sexually assaulted at his Midtown apartment when he bent her over the arm of a chair following a dinner. Shemesh says her story was completely unbelievable, adding the woman never turned her face to see him during the entire 2 to 3 minute alleged assault. Shemesh added police also never inquired about this apartment. Vlasic says she explained that because Mr. Stronach was behind her during the assault, she couldn't see him, so of course she couldn't describe his facial expression or the state of dress during the assault. The final complainant testified she was taken to dinner with Stronach and then sexually assaulted at his harborfront condo. This woman, Shemesh says, was and is a fraud, pointing to her claims of business success and that she lied about when she'd spoken to a lawyer. The Crown's closing statement continues tomorrow. Allison Hurst, CTV News.
Premier Doug Ford is in Texas meeting with leaders in business and politics. His office says he's using the trip to advocate for tariff-free trade between Canada and the U.S. Ford shared these photos on social media this afternoon, meeting with representatives from waste management and manufacturing companies. Writing, he's making the case Ontario is the best place in the world to invest and grow a business. This comes in the run-up to CUSMA negotiations this summer. Opposition leaders aren't convinced this trip will do much good.
The Premier likes to cosplay at being Captain Canada, but we've got a problem right here in our province today that is going to impact our ability to grow our economy and create more opportunities for people that he is refusing to address, and that is the generational debt because of his government's wasteful spending and mismanagement of our economy.
His ads, his interventions, I don't think it's helped. I think it's hurt. I hope he doesn't hurt us when he goes down there. That's what I'm worried about.
The Premier's office notes Ontario accounts for almost half of Canada's trade with Texas. The state is the #2 destination for the province's exports to the U.S. Canadians are mourning the loss of a champion of human rights and social justice. Stephen Lewis passed away peacefully in Toronto today while in hospice care. He was surrounded by his family.
The former environmental activist, Ontario NDP leader, and Canadian ambassador to the United Nations was 88. His family released a statement that reads in part, "Stephen spent the last 8 years of his life battling cancer with the same indomitable energy he brought to his lifelong work, the unending struggle for justice and dignity for every human life. The world has lost a voice of unmatched eloquence and integrity." The emeritus director of the Stephen Lewis Foundation says Stephen's deep caring, sense of humor, and exquisite speaking ability focused on bringing peace and freedom for all will remain his legacy.
The Prime Minister also released a statement reading in part, "Today, I join Canadians in mourning the loss of Stephen Lewis, a pillar of compassionate leadership in Canada in Canadian democracy and a renowned global champion for human rights and multilateralism. He helped position Canada as a principled leader in ending apartheid in South Africa and believed that proper health care was key to reducing poverty and growing economies. And Premier Doug Ford posted this on X saying, "I was sad to hear of the death of Stephen Lewis, who spent many decades serving the people of Ontario and Canada, including during his time as leader of the Ontario New Democratic Party. My sincere condolences go out to his family and loved ones." CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has a look now at the life and legacy of Stephen Lewis.
A passionate and determined humanitarian, Stephen Lewis never hesitated to speak his mind.
What kind of a world do we live in where the life of an African child or an Asian child is worth so much less than the life of a Canadian child?
After dropping out of law school in the 1960s, Lewis moved to Africa and became a lifelong advocate for the region, committed to improving the lives of those struggling through the HIV and AIDS epidemic.
You witness it, and you experience a kind of simultaneous spasm of helplessness and anger and resolve.
His dedication led to more than 2 decades with the United Nations, serving in positions from Canada's UN ambassador to deputy director of UNICEF.
Congratulations.
And a UN special envoy for AIDS in Africa.
I cannot remember in my entire adult life scenes of such unendurable human desolation. It was heartbreaking.
Lewis was immersed in politics from a young age.
There isn't a law on the statute books of this country that doesn't carry the imprint of the CCF and the NDP.
His father, David Lewis, served as the National Secretary of the Canadian Commonwealth Federation, or CCF. When his dad was leading the federal New Democrats, he was leading the party in Ontario. And decades later, just days before his death, Lewis's son Avi would go on to become the federal NDP leader.
There's something almost quaint in the Russians investigating the NDP.
Stephen Lewis's debating skills, compassion, and his honesty gained him widespread respect at home and abroad.
What we have been suggesting is an agenda of work for Ontario, an agenda of work which implies a shared government and a shared leadership which the people of this province seem to be conveying to the politicians.
A life of leadership that will live on through the continued work of the Stephen Lewis Foundation, a nonprofit that since 2003 has helped provide care for women, children, and communities suffering from AIDS and HIV.
I was clobbered by the carnage of the pandemic that I was witnessing in Africa and desperate to do something about it in a concrete way. And thus the foundation was formed.
A legacy of bringing attention to the plight of those less fortunate and forgotten. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
This is the last day for Canadians to submit a declaration to participate in the federal gun buyback program. It's open to anyone who has guns that were prohibited in May of 2020, December of 2024, or March of 2025. They must have been acquired before the date they were banned. Owners can still turn in their guns after today, but they will not be compensated. Ottawa says all assault-style weapons must be disposed of or permanently deactivated before the amnesty period ends October 30th.
Excise taxes paid by makers of alcohol in Canada will be extended by at least a couple of years. The taxes are automatically set to rise annually on April 1st, in line with inflation. The Liberals have capped the hike at 2% since 2023, and tomorrow's scheduled increase was supposed to be the final year for the cap, but a government official says Ottawa is set to renew it through to 2028. The extension is intended to rein in costs for brewers, wineries, and distilleries.
The federal government has introduced a $3.8 billion strategy to protect Canada's natural environment.
Our country is blessed by an incredible natural heritage. From the rugged Atlantic shores to the towering peaks of the Rockies, from the sweeping prairies to the boreal forests, from the Arctic to the sprawling mountains of British Columbia. Nature is at the heart of Canada. It is at the heart of our identity.
The plan includes funding at least 10 new national parks, 15 national urban parks, and up to 14 marine protected areas. Ottawa says at least 1.6 million square kilometers of lands in Canada and up to 700,000 square kilometers of oceans will be protected over the next 4 years. Some 16 years after he and hundreds of others arrived in Canada on a cargo ship from Sri Lanka, a Toronto man is fighting to stay here.
As John Woodward reports, even Canada's public safety minister appears to recognize the danger of sending him back.
It was back in 2010 when a rickety vessel named the MV Sun Sea arrived on Canada's west coast. On board, almost 500 Tamil migrants fleeing Sri Lanka after its military crushed the Tamil Tigers during its civil war. Among the migrants, Kumar Thurasinkam.
There was no food and it was a very old ship. It was a difficult journey and it was very scary.
Thurasinkam made a refugee claim amid get-tough rhetoric from the then Conservative government.
We need to take firm action to crack down on smuggling.
About two-thirds of those claims were accepted as people needing protection, according to the Canadian Council for Refugees. Thurasinkam's claim was denied, but he was able to stay in Canada for a while with a work permit as a carpenter in Scarborough. Others weren't so lucky.
I was tortured very badly in jail.
One vessel organizer, Sathya Pavan Asirvatham, swore an affidavit in 2013 that he'd been tortured. He later died. Something Thurasinkam worries could happen to him now that the government has started a removal proceeding against him, prompted by an impaired driving conviction.
There is a serious risk that he will be perceived, if he returns to Sri Lanka, to be affiliated with the Tamil Tigers.
Would you support people like him returning to Sri Lanka?
Well, let me just say that the matter is before the courts.
Canada's Public Safety Minister Gary Anasangari himself was an advocate for some of those migrants. Today, he's in charge of the process to remove them, though he promised to recuse himself from anything to do with the Tamil Tigers.
I have, in the past, advocated for those who, particularly who come on the MV Sun Sea, not to be returned to Sri Lanka, because we've had at least one incident of an individual who was alleged to have been killed by the government several years ago.
And Anasangari said Thurasinkam's case is best settled by the federal court, where he's expected to have a hearing on Thursday. John Woodward, CTV News.
The Canadian government is condemning the Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon, calling it illegal.
It's a violation of their territorial sovereignty, integrity, sovereignty. And the point I was making as well, from a practical perspective, the government of Lebanon has banned Hezbollah. It's taking action, is trying to take action against Hezbollah and their terrorist activities and their threats to Israel. And that is the purported justification for this invasion.
Mark Carney is also calling for a ceasefire. The Israelis invaded after Hezbollah began launching missiles into northern Israel 2 days after Iran was attacked. Many Lebanese now fear another prolonged military occupation.
Next month, King Charles will become the first British monarch to make a state visit to the U.S. since 2007. The King and Queen will be there from April 27th to the 30th. The long-planned visit marks the 250th anniversary of America's independence from British rule and will include a banquet dinner at the White House. Buckingham Palace says the trip is being made on the advice of the U.K. government. The royals will visit Bermuda later. Well, we are now just 24 hours until the scheduled start of a historic space mission for Canada.
The next launch window opens at about this time tomorrow for the Artemis 2 mission. It will take London, Ontario's Jeremy Hansen and 3 other astronauts around the moon and back. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
With every second that passes, the Artemis 2 gets closer to liftoff.
There was a lot of smiles today, so felt really good about that. As the team is preparing, I think everybody's pretty excited and understands the significance of this launch.
The team has spent the day doing a number of final checks to the spacecraft, which will soon embark on a 10-day mission around the moon, while the astronauts, including Canadian Jeremy Hansen, remain in quarantine, waiting for tomorrow's planned launch.
He'll be spending time with people who are really close to him, family, and he's probably going to be going to bed really early and sleep shifting so that they can get on the schedule they'll be on for this moon mission. Now, whether or not he'll be successful, I don't know. Do you think you'd be able to sleep if you were going to the moon the next morning?
Joshua Kutrick is a Canadian astronaut who says a lot needs to go right for a successful liftoff tomorrow.
It's immensely complicated. It is the most powerful rocket that's ever been built, and it's full of millions of high-tech components. So technologically, this is a very big challenge.
And the challenges are only going to grow, with NASA unveiling ambitious plans for space exploration, including a moon base by 2030.
I think of this as just the opening chapter in a grand story of astronauts going to and from the moon with great frequency.
To achieve those goals, NASA Administrator Jarek Isaacman says collaborating with international partners like Canada will be critical.
Canada is leaning forward with robotic expertise for our ambitions on the lunar surface. It's exciting to think about the potential when you're not just going to the moon for a couple of days, but actually trying to create an enduring presence for, its scientific and economic potential.
Canada's partnership with NASA dates back decades, with Hansen set to become the first non-American to travel to deep space.
It is space diplomacy, and Jeremy is emblematic of that.
Absolutely.
He brings a huge, powerful capability, but it's also the whole country and our industrial capabilities, what we bring to the table. That's why we're here.
The launch window officially opens at 6:24 p.m. tomorrow. And while officials say there is an 80% chance of favorable weather, these strong winds and cumulus clouds are in the forecast, something NASA's weather officer will be keeping a close eye on as we get closer to liftoff. Heather Wright, CTV News, Cape Canaveral, Florida.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, do you use e-transfers to send and receive money? A man was sending funds to his sister and typed in the wrong email address, and the money was deposited into the wrong account, and he can't get it back. That story is just ahead.
So we've got a little more wet weather on the way for tonight. Shouldn't be a whole lot as far as rain is concerned, although thunderstorms could up those rainfall totals. Tomorrow is a drier day, hopefully with some sunshine, but as we've been discussing, it looks pretty unsettled as we head into the long weekend. We'll take a detailed look at what you can expect and talk temperatures when CTV News returns. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Canadians send more than 1 million e-transfers a day, and the vast majority get where they're supposed to go without any issues.
But if you're sending an e-transfer, you have to be careful you enter the correct information, or your money can go missing. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan. And Michelle, a Toronto man was sending his sister some money around Christmas time, but he entered her email address incorrectly. The money went to someone with a similar name, and he's been trying for months to get it back.
I thought, oh my God, what have I done?
Tony DeSimone of Toronto says the very first time he sent an e-transfer, he had a problem.
I'm blind in my right eye, so sometimes I have difficulties doing emails or texts and things like that.
He owed his sister $1,600, so she told him to e-transfer her the money at Christmas time, and she gave him her email address.
I kept telling my sister that I sent it, and normally she gets an email saying, that there's a deposit in her account from an e-transfer.
When the money never arrived, he took another look at the email he used and realized he forgot 2 numbers, and he sent it to the wrong email address. His credit union said the person had auto deposit, and the money went straight into their account.
You sent it to the wrong person, and now it's been deposited, and we can't get it back.
The Windsor Family Credit Union said once an e-transfer with auto deposit has been successfully deposited, it cannot be reversed without the consent of the recipient. When DeSimone reached out to the person and explained the mistake, they were concerned it was a scam and refused to send the money back. To avoid e-transfer trouble, treat e-transfers like cash. Make sure the person you're sending it to is trusted. Double-check details before sending, and if the person has auto deposit, a pop-up will validate it's the right person. DeSimone says losing $1,600 has affected his finances.
I feel really bad, and I want to get my money back if it's possible.
When CTV News reached out to the person who mistakenly received the funds, they said they'd been scammed before, but now realized it was a mistake. So the person sent DeSimone back his $1,600, which was great news for him.
I'm so happy, that I watched your show. Thank you, CTV. I'm glad I got my money back thanks to you, and it wouldn't have happened without you guys.
And if you have concerns about using e-transfers, you can send a small amount of money first to make sure it's received without any problems. And if it is, you can feel more confident about sending the rest. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, to the forecast. Not the best day. We've had rain and even some heavy fog at times.
Did you like how mild it's been, though?
That was the good part.
Yeah, that's a good part. But although I think I'll take a little bit cooler tomorrow if it's dry.
Yeah, and you know what else would sweeten the deal? Maybe a little bit of sunshine, because that could happen in the afternoon. But yes, today, I mean, we've got the fog out there. We are tracking more in the way of thunderstorms as we make our way through the evening hours tonight. I think it's safe to say that March is going out like a lion, even with the mild temperatures we've enjoyed over the last couple of days. Here's what it looked like in Oshawa earlier this afternoon. We had rounds of thunderstorms overnight, in the morning, and yes, midday. That rain just teeming down at times. Now, as we track where the stormy weather is at this hour, we are seeing thunder and lightning in places like Stratford, as well as over toward Waterloo and Guelph. There's been a couple of lightning strikes if you're joining us from Ancaster or Dundas. Also, some active weather making its way through the Beamsville area. It's been quite stormy in Niagara Falls through the late part of this afternoon. And as we zoom in a little closer, you can see some showers once again arriving for the west end of the GTA. Not far now before those showers reach us here in Toronto. There's a severe thunderstorm watch in place. That's the area in yellow that you see. This is mainly for communities west of the GTA with 90-kilometer-per-hour gusts possible. Into tomorrow morning, it's possible that areas that get hit with thunderstorms could pick up an additional 10 to 20 millimeters of rainfall. And it is a very active weather pattern, as we've been talking about. This disturbance stays to the south for tomorrow. This one is mainly going to impact northern portions of Ontario, but we too will get clipped as we make our way into the day on Friday and Thursday too. So this is a snapshot of 7 p.m. expected to be unsettled and active around the GTA. Heading into the overnight, drier conditions and similar situation for your Wednesday. See that? That's some clearing starting to happen with the cloud cover. There's the low staying to our south. And then Thursday, just a heads up that some areas east of Georgian Bay could get into some freezing rain. Mid-afternoon, we see another round of showers or storms moving in. And then early Friday morning, possibility of active weather. It's also going to be quite mild again that day. So we'll get to that momentarily. Speaking of mild, it is 19 degrees in Windsor. We are at 13 in Toronto, but look at Muskoka, only 3, only 1 degree this hour in Ottawa. So you can see where the warmth ends. Record to beat today was 25 degrees. We did not quite get to our forecast daytime high today. Those storms midday dropped our temperature by about 5 degrees. Speaking of 5, that is our forecast overnight low for tonight, which is warmer than normal. I think many of us will take that. Interestingly enough, though, the temperature will dip a couple of degrees further as we progress through tomorrow morning. But again, signs of perhaps some clearing into the afternoon, and enjoy it because Thursday and Friday, as mentioned, are going to be a little unsettled once again. But check out Friday's expected high, 23 degrees and maybe 13 degrees for Saturday. A little cooler as we head into the day on Sunday. This is not going to be a washout here, but again, the chance of showers will be with us right through Easter Sunday. That's your look at the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, combating a condition called cancer fatigue. Patients share their exhaustive journey and progress with the help of a one-of-a-kind post-cancer treatment center. More than 90% of people living with or after cancer experience cancer-related fatigue.
But until recently, there were no clinics specializing in this problem. Health reporter Pauline Chan visited the first-of-its-kind clinic in Canada.
Angela Davis-Woody was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2022 and was treated with surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. But she struggled to return to her job as a police officer in Kirkland Lake.
I am cancer-free, which I am very, very excited about. The side effects of the treatments have been very, very impactful on me.
She says fatigue hits her from the moment she gets up in the morning.
So I have like brain fog, joint pain, muscle aches, muscle spasms. I have chemo-induced neuropathy.
But since coming to Cancer Fatigue Services, she's made progress and hopes to get back to work.
100% hopeful.
Scott Adams, founder of the clinic, says there are a multitude of factors that contribute to cancer fatigue.
With looking at things like blood-based factors like anemia and immune dysfunction, hormone imbalances, behavioral factors like exercise intolerance.
And so while the clinic is exercise-focused, it also connects clients with dietitians, psychosocial supports, and more in their home community.
The clinic is physician-led, so most of our services are OHIP billable.
Peter Linnaeus had 2 bouts of testicular cancer in his mid-20s, and he couldn't understand why fatigue continued to be a problem.
It was very much that self-imposed sense of masculinity that I'm just going to barrel down and tough through it, not realizing that there was something actually happening. Why am I taking naps? I'm not even 30.
Why has cancer fatigue not been recognized more widely? Adams says it's a complex condition, and busy cancer specialists may not have time to delve into it with individual patients, but that is changing.
Many of the cancer centers do recommend routine screening for various cancer symptoms, including for fatigue. And then depending on the severity and the impact, discussing with patients about potential opportunities to address it.
Cancer Fatigue Services is the only centre of its kind in Canada.
Patients can get referred to the clinic through their oncologist, a family physician, or a nurse practitioner. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Some Instagram users may soon have the option of paying for extra features. The social media app is testing a pay tier that gives users extra benefits. Features include letting subscribers anonymously view story posts and gives users more control over what they can share. Now, according to TechCrunch, new tier is being tested in Japan, Mexico, and the Philippines, with subscription prices hovering around $2 per month. After the break, controlling the tempo. Former Raptor president Masai Ujiri returns to the Six and joins the ownership group of Toronto's new WNBA team.
Statistics Canada released GDP numbers for January. Real gross domestic product was up 0.1%. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has more.
Canada made gains in mining, oil and gas extraction, and utilities, but there was a contraction in manufacturing. Specifically, motor vehicles and parts manufacturing dropped over 10%. That's the largest contraction since September 2021. Statistics Canada says holiday shutdowns at Ontario assembly plants lasted into January. Now, the good news is construction expanded by over 1% in January, and the retail sector was also positive. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up a fraction to 71.87. West Texas Intermediate is down $1.50 to 101.38. Western Canadian Select up over $2 to 83.39, and the TSX shot up 833 points, ending the day at 32,768. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
New data finds global jet fuel prices have doubled since the start of the Iran war. The International Air Transport Association says average jet fuel prices now sit 104% above where they were last month. Airlines have been responding to the pressure by increasing customer prices and reviewing flight routes.
Air Canada has been slapped with a fine of more than $420,000 for violating federal rules on passenger rights during the flight attendants' strike last summer. More than 10,000 flight attendants went on strike last August, disrupting thousands of flights across the country. According to the Canadian Transportation Agency, Air Canada committed 71 violations of air passenger protection regulations between August 15th and August 20th of last year. The agency says the airline, quote, failed to, at the passenger's choice, provide a refund for any unused portion of the ticket. The agency also says Air Canada failed to provide the passenger free of charge with a confirmed reservation for the next available flight that is operated by any carrier. Well, it was a tough go for starter Cody Ponce in his debut. The Blue Jays pitcher was carted off the field in their loss to Colorado last night.
And he hits one high and deep to center field. Gone.
Kazuma Okamoto hit his second big league homer in the bottom of the ninth, but it was part of a losing effort. The Rockies topped the Jays 14-5. The team also lost starter Cody Ponce to a knee injury early in the game.
0-2 again. Weakly hit to the right side, and Ponce can't make the play, and now he's limping and down.
And Ponce was making his first MLB start since 2021 when he injured his knee attempting to field a ground ball in the third inning. Today, the Jays said Ponce has been diagnosed with an ACL sprain and has been placed on the 15-day injured list. The Jays and Rockies continue their series at Rogers Center tonight with first pitch set for just after 7.
A big test for the Raptors tonight when they battle the top team in the Eastern Conference.
For their last 6 with 5 turnovers, and there's another one. A.J. to Mamu.
The team won 139-87 against the Orlando Magic Sunday. The Raptors will be without Emmanuel Quickley for a 5th straight game, while Brandon Ingram is questionable to play. Tip-off for tonight's game is set for just after 8 in Detroit.
Masai Ujiri is returning to professional basketball in Toronto. Ujiri is joining the ownership group of the city's WNBA team, the Toronto Tempo. He previously served as a high-profile exec with the Raptors, becoming team president in 2016 and putting together the roster, which won the team's 2019 NBA championship. Ujiri parted ways with the Raptors last June. Now, other members of the Tempo's ownership group include MLSE board member Larry Tannenbaum, tennis star Serena Williams, and Montreal Canadiens owner Jeff Molson.
We now know who Canada will face in the opening game of the World Cup.
Can send Bosnia and Herzegovina to the World Cup. And he does! It got underneath Donnarumma. The Italian curse continues. Bosnia and Herzegovina will play in the FIFA World Cup.
Bosnia and Herzegovina stunned Italy in penalties this afternoon to claim a spot in Group B in this summer's FIFA World Cup. They'll now face Canada at BMO Field June 12th. Italy has not qualified for the last 3 World Cups.
Just gutted, you know. Same thing we've been feeling in the last couple World Cups. Everything in Toronto, we got the Leafs, we got the Blue Jays, Buffalo Bills, it all ends the same way the last couple of years, so it's just, we're used to this.
I think the realization, what I was really hoping for was that game 1. I wanted to watch Canada play Italy. I wanted to watch that in Toronto. I think it would have meant a lot for me as someone of Italian background and a lot of people in this city. So it's sad, yeah, there's another 4 years, but we're never going to see that. And I think that's really tough because it would have been a beautiful thing.
We're winning the game. Red card, we went into defensive mode. I guess the stars weren't aligned for Italy today.
Canada will take on Tunisia tonight in a friendly at BMO Field. Kickoff is at 7:30.
And as excitement builds for the World Cup, there is an unfortunate side effect. Scam artists are taking advantage of fans clamoring for tickets.
CTV's Adrian Gobriel has the story now of an Ontario man who got ripped off and offers some tips to protect yourself.
David steps up and finishes coolly.
The authenticity of Canada's men's soccer team is well documented, yet the lead up to co-hosting the World Cup is now fraught with fraud.
Fraudsters try to capitalize on vulnerabilities. They know that so many Canadians and people outside of Canada want to attend these events.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre confirms they're now working with the RCMP, Vancouver and Toronto police ahead of this June's World Cup as they work to weed out bad actors across the country and beyond.
I was embarrassed to even tell my wife, and I was actually embarrassed to do this interview, to be fair, because I'm in my 40s, man.
Adonis Ibrahim runs a rec soccer league in Windsor, Ontario. Like many, he's desperate to get his hands on a World Cup ticket. He ended up on Facebook Marketplace, where he shared that he was looking for a single ticket to Canada's opener in Toronto. Someone, apparently named Ava Green, sent Ibrahim this message. They agreed on a price of $400, half of which he paid up front. The tickets never arrived.
I was taken advantage of, and I'm doing this because I don't want it to happen to anyone else.
Fans are also being duped into paying for World Cup rental properties that don't exist. Counterfeit merchandise is also on the rise. The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre is advising individuals to only use FIFA's verified exchange platform for resale tickets. Avoid third-party sites selling tickets and merchandise. For short-term rentals, be cautious if the price appears too good to be true. Use a credit card with fraud protection whenever possible when making a purchase.
Don't get scammed. It's not a good feeling.
With Team Canada preparing to take on the world, Ibrahim has been left still searching for a single ticket to fulfill a lifelong dream.
There are still some more affordable, legitimate tickets available for the two upcoming friendlies in Edmonton and Montreal before Team Canada officially kicks off its World Cup right here at BMO Field on June 12th. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
One of the tallest new residents of the Toronto Zoo finally has a name.
We're talking, of course, about the Maasai giraffe calf born last month. After a public vote, the zoo announced today the giraffe has been officially named Imara. The name is Swahili for strong, firm, and resilient. The calf was born on February 22nd and made her public debut earlier this month. Imara was 6'4" when she was born, and she's already grown to just shy of 7 feet in the last 5 weeks.
Good to hear. So tonight, are we going to get some sleep, or is it going to be noisy?
Well, the overnight should be quieter than the evening. We've got some storms rolling through as we speak, so we'll take one more look at the satellite and radar to show you what's happening. If you have to venture out in the next little bit, bring the umbrella and, of course, keep an eye and an ear out for any thunder and lightning. Waking up tomorrow morning, the temperature is actually expected to dip to about 3 degrees at 8 a.m. The afternoon brings a little bit of seasonal warmth and hopefully some sunshine. I think it's going to be a nice-looking afternoon, and we need to enjoy that because heading into the long weekend, we've got a few rounds of showers, but a couple of mild days on Friday and Saturday. Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Anne-Marie Medaweg tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with their next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, thanks for watching. Have a great night.